Okay, so part of your homework tonight is to watch this video on our introduction to properties. We wanted to watch this video as homework so that we're not using class time to review some of those properties that we learned last year, and actually we've been learning for a lot of years previously. So you need to be open to page 49 in your yellow book, and we expect that you are filling in your notes as we go through them together in this video. So starting with the associative and commutative properties, we're going to start with the associative property. I call this the but property. And if you look in the word, you may know why. But basically, the associative property says that we can regroup numbers without actually having to move the numbers around. Okay, so an addition example, we're going to have 3 plus y plus 2. And when you dance, you kind of shake your butt a little bit. So what I like to say is that we're going to dance the parentheses to regroup our numbers. So we're going to dance them over. So now that y plus 2 are dancing together. So basically all we did was we moved our parentheses. Originally we had 3 and y grouped, and then we changed it, keeping our numbers in the same order, to y plus 2 grouping. Okay, so we had a new dance partner. A multiplication example, we have 3x in our parentheses with y being a little on the outside, but now we move our parentheses to regroup, and now x and y are in a group together. Again, our numbers stayed in the same order. So associative property is all about your grouping. Commutative property, we see this word commute in there. And whenever you drive to a school and then you drive back, that's like your commute to school. So this is your drive to and from school. They use the same route. So this might help you because when we plug in these numbers, first off, the commutative property is when we switch our numbers around. And so it's not affecting your final value because we're switching around an addition and a multiplication sign. So our addition example will have 3 plus x. So that's your commute to school. And then on your commute back, we're going to switch the order. We have x plus 3. So only your order switches around that addition sign. So that's your switching property. And an example with multiplication would be 3x is the same as x times 3. These properties only work for addition and multiplication because they would not mathematically be the same if it was subtraction and division. All right, moving on. Sorry, I'm a little sniffly. To the identity, inverse, and multiplicative property of zero properties. Identity property is when you have a problem equal to itself. So it's an identical answer. So additive identity, your identity element is 0. So what that means is 3 plus 0 is going to equal itself. It's going to equal 3. So the 0 to me looks like a mirror, like if you're looking at yourself in the mirror. So I call this identity property your mirror because when you look in the mirror, you see yourself. Multiplicative identity, so identity with multiplying. I'm going to have x times 1 equals x. So anything times 1 equals itself. Now inverse, this word inverse actually means opposite, which is what can help us when we're filling out these properties here. And when we use the inverse properties, it's actually going to be equal to the identity element, which above for addition was 0 and for multiplication was 1. So for additive inverse, we want it to, mistake there. We want it to equal 0. Keeping in mind that we have opposites here. Wow, I just wrote oppositive, didn't I? Haha. Opposites, my bad. So I have 3 plus negative 3 equals 0. Positive 3, negative 3 are opposites, so they are inverses. Multiplicative inverse, the inverse here is actually going to be your reciprocal. So if I had 1/4 times 4, that is going to equal 1. Your identity element there is 1, and we did the reciprocal of 1/4, which was 4. Almost done here. Multiplicative property of 0. We like to abbreviate this MPOS because sometimes we're a little lazy. And what this means is that anything times 0 is going to be 0. So there's no additive property for this. And I'm just going to have y times 0 equals 0. Before I move to the last property on this page, I want to reiterate that properties help us understand why we do things in math. They kind of put a rule to all those little things that we kind of already naturally do when we're solving a problem, like rearranging our numbers, regrouping our numbers, how we get 0 when we add two opposite numbers together. So these are helping us to put, like I said, rules or guidelines onto the math we already do. The last one we've already actually done this year, distributive property, but just to reiterate, it is an actual property, and it is when we're going to multiply a number by whatever is inside the parentheses. So if I had -5 parentheses x plus y minus 2, when I did the distributive property, that -5 would go to everything inside only. So I'd end up with -5x minus 5y plus 10. And we cannot combine anything there because they're not like terms, and so that would be your answer when using the distributive property. Okay, so if I went too fast through any of that, you can go ahead and rewatch it again. But this is everything that you need to have completed for your next math class when we jump into some properties and proofs. So make sure that you have all of your notes filled in, and we will see you next class. Have a good day.